guys in Philly, they taught me a lot about the Second Amendment. We walked into one of the brothers' house and he welcomed us with, where am I, you know? We don't know anything like that in the UK. There is just stabbings and carrying knives, and it took me quite a bit of time to get over that shock and that trauma. Seeing a guy with Shahid min al-kalam, my brothers and my sisters. Be actively involved. If you think that you can't become the next talib ilm, and a lot of people think that when you seek knowledge, you're trying to become the next big sheikh, or the next big imam, right? Or the next khatib. La. You can't navigate in this universe, my brothers, without knowledge. Just look at all these YouTubers. Look how they're suffering spiritually and mentally, guys. Right? They're all suffering mentally. Did anyone see that interview of Fusi Tube just before his boxing match? Did anyone see it? He was being asked, how do you feel before the boxing match? He said, I couldn't feel any better. I couldn't feel any better. I stopped watching pornography. I stopped consuming drugs. Right? I stopped doing zina. I don't do all of this haram stuff. And I'm staying on top of my salah. And I couldn't feel any better. This is Fusi Tube, guys. Right? A Muslim who more than once announced his apostasy. Announced that he's depressed and he's got bipolar. But now he's saying that salah is helping him through it. Again, excuse me for using this as an example, but many people can relate to that. Look where he is now, in a much better position. Right? If you can't be actively involved by way of learning your religion, be there supporting my brothers and my sisters. The da'wah needs to reach the four corners of the world. Right? It needs to reach it. Sometimes it requires someone to just make a video. And making that video is not easy. Right? Recording is the easiest thing, to get your iPhone and then put it in front of the speaker. But then the editing, it may well cost. If you're someone that can't actively learn, be there to support, maybe with your funds that Allah Azza wa Jalla has blessed you with. Maybe you have a link to something that could help spread the da'wah. Right? You can see the funding that they're getting and how much they're utilizing that. Right? May Allah Azza wa Jalla bless every single one of you guys. Honestly, guys, wallahi, I know how big football is. No, not football, soccer in the UK. And how much it affects the shabab. And the dilemma they're in when there is a football game or a soccer game between two big teams. And to have the Lakers game on with the Nets, especially with LeBron James, and what's the other guy's name? Kyrie, huh? Is that his name? And he's a Muslim guy as well, I heard. You know, that can be very tempting. But you guys sacrificed it for this lecture. And wallahi, my brothers and my sisters, it really, really shows that there is goodness in every single one of your hearts. Wallahi azim. You could have been doing 1,000,001 things, but you chose to sit in the house of Allah. Thank Allah Azza wa Jal for it, because He chose you from among so many. How many people are doing all sorts of crazy things tonight, guys? You seen how they were lining up for the basketball game? Right? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala honor every single one of you guys. Ameen. And I ask Allah Azza wa Jalla, if He doesn't reunite us in this dunya, to reunite us in the hereafter. I think there's a Q&A.
Yeah, no.
Yeah?
We're going to do it.
We'll take the question from the sisters first, because the statement is ladies first, right? And then we'll take it from the brothers.
You take questions here now?
Okay, let's take it from the brothers, because the sisters are still coming, huh? Our brother at the back. Sorry, brother, can you just raise your voice? Can you stand up, maybe? Alaykum salam. So our brother is saying, I think it's a very good question. Jazakallah khair. Your name, ya akhi? Munib. Jazakallah khair Munib. May Allah Azza wa Jal honor you في الدنيا والآخرة. Our brother Munib, I'm assuming he's from New York, right, with the accent. Are you from New York? He asked this question where some brothers may say, I'm speaking to her because I'm giving her da'wah. I'm telling her to fix the hijab. I'm teaching her to become a better person. What did we speak about today, guys? Right? How this is one of the biggest traps of the shaitan. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he taught us in a hadith, ما خلا رجل مع امرأة إلا كان ثالثهما الشيطان. Never does a man seclude himself with a woman except that the third is shaitan. Shall I tell you guys something that's gonna blow your mind away? There was this practicing brother who went to see a girl for a marriage meeting. Marriage meeting, هذا حلال يا إخوان. Is it halal? هذا halal. The mother who was there monitoring the situation, right, went upstairs to watch the soap opera. I don't know what you guys have over here that you watch. In the UK they have something called EastEnders. What do you guys have here that comes on a day-to-day basis? CSI? Huh? Law and Order? Or whatever. She went upstairs. The mother went upstairs. She said, you know what? You guys can carry on speaking to yourselves. You know what the brother said to me? Wallahi, it was only a matter of time before they were doing stuff with one another, getting all touchy with one another. Inside of that room, right, when it was an halal, well, it was meant to be a halal marriage meeting. This is a red line, guys. Stop lying to yourself. We as men, my brothers and my sisters, let's be honest here. And if anyone disagrees with me, I'll cancel you. Huh? Our biggest problem is what? Is women. Believe it or not, hate it or love it, our biggest problem that we have, our biggest fitna is women. Whether you're the biggest sheikh, right? Whether you're the biggest scholar, whether you're the most righteous person ever, our biggest problem is what? Is women. You know, Ata ibn Abi Rabah, he mentioned, لو ائتمنت على كنز من الكنوز, if I was entrusted with a treasure or the treasury of the country, I wouldn't mind looking after it. However, if you left me with an amatun shawha, you know what amatun shawha is? A very, very, I don't want to insult the lady, but very bad looking lady. That is a slave girl. If you entrusted me with her, I wouldn't trust myself. ثم يأتي ما شاء الله, huh? I got a brother in New York City with all the fitna around him. I'm giving her da'wah. Allah Azza wa Jalla, He said in the Quran, وَخُلِقَ الْإِنسَانُ ضَعِيفًا. Man has been created weak. Imam Ahmad, or I believe it was Sufyan al-Thawri, said, weakness here means a man is lowering his gaze. And then a woman walks past, he just can't hold himself. He ends up looking at her. مَا تَرَكْتُ فِتْنَةً أَضَرَّ عَلَى أُمَّتِي مِنَ النِّسَاءِ. I haven't left a fitna that is greater upon men than women. It is as simple as that, guys. I don't run my Instagram, guys. It's run by admins. But I do go on it from time to time because I fear for myself. Yes, I fear for myself. People are trying to trick and trap you all the time. Some girls, they get sent. You open it and there's a picture of her. Allah yastur bis. Right? There to trap you. Oh, I thought, it was a marriage proposal and I didn't know, oops, and then she deletes it. Does that make sense, guys? This is our biggest fitna. The non-Muslims have realized it. Let me ask you guys a question. The billboard. You guys have a billboard, right? Where a toothpaste is being sold. Toothpaste. Or a toothbrush. Right alongside it you have a half-naked woman. What on earth does the half-naked woman got to do with a toothbrush? They realized that's how they could grab your attention. They use women as a marketing tool, right, to grab the attention of a consumer. Because they know that's their biggest fitna. Does that make sense? Let's stop lying to ourselves, my brothers and my sisters, and we take precaution. Allah said in the Quran, وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا الزِّنَا. What does that mean? Don't come close to zina. Allah didn't say don't do zina. He said don't come close to it. Don't come close to it. Like anything that's going to lead you to that, make sure that prevention is better than the cure. Does that answer your question? Allah yahfadak ya Munib.
We have somebody take a break for 1 minute.
Okay, someone wants to take the shahada. Allahu Akbar.
I let you do the shahada, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum. Inshallah, our treatment for our sheikh to give somebody shahada now. Actually, there is a brother, his name Tyson. Brother Tyson here? Tyson, another brother Tyson. Another brother Tyson took shahada 3-4 days ago, and he told me he was talking with Imam Abu Taymeya, Ibn Abu Taymeya. He was talking with him. As a result of that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened his heart and he came and took shahada. I thought he's here now. But since he's not here, inshallah, our brother Joseph is going to take shahada. You give him the shahada, inshallah. We just take a break for 2 minutes.
Is Tyson here? Tyson is here? I would love to meet you, Tyson. We started conversing on Instagram and he said he really wants to take his shahada. I don't know any masjid in New York, so I told him go to Masjid Taqwa.
He came and gave him shahada.
Because that's the masjid that, sorted out this program. Yeah? Please, if you're here, Tyson, let us know, man. Are you Tyson? No.
He was Salat al-Zuhr.
You took your shahada on Friday. May Allah bless you, man. May Allah bless you, man. Right.
We need to sit down. We need to maintain sitting down. Sit down.
Everyone sit down. Everyone sit down. Otherwise the security is coming after you. Sit down. The Muslim patrol community. Yeah. May Allah reward them. Programs like this cannot function without some of these brothers. May Allah Azza wa Jalla bless them. They did a great job, arranging everything. Your name? No pressure. No pressure. Let me try to explain the shahada to you. Is that you bear witness that no one has the right to be worshipped in truth except God. Right? And that Prophet Muhammad is the final messenger and Prophet of God. Right?
Move the speaker, make the microphone closer to you now.
Were you previously a Christian?
Yeah, when I was younger.
We believe that Jesus is the Prophet of God. Right? We don't believe that you invoke him or that he has the same status as Allah Azza wa Jal. Right? So are you ready to take the shahada?
Yes.
So I'm just going to say it and I want you to repeat after me. Okay? Ashhadu.
Ashu. Ashu.
Ashhadu.
Ashu.
An la
Allah.
ilaha
Allah.
illa Allah.
Inna Allah.
Wa ashhadu
Washutu.
anna
Inna.
Muhammadan
Mamanda.
abduhu
Abdul.
wa rasuluh.
Abusu.
Wa rasuluh.
Wa Rasulu.
Good. Which basically means, I bear witness
I bear witness.
that no one has the right
No one has the right
to be worshipped
to be worshipped
in truth
in truth
except
except
Allah.
Allah
And that Prophet Muhammad
and our Prophet Muhammad
is his final messenger
is his final messenger
and prophet
and prophet
and slave.
and slave.
You are now a Muslim, my brother. Even my shahada is getting mixed up, guys. I'm very tired, subhanAllah. Jazakallah khair, my brother. One piece of advice I can give you is just take it easy, right? I think the end of the lecture was maybe directed at yourself, where sometimes, people start giving you a hard time because now you're practicing Muslim, right? So just bear that in mind that the people are going to try and maybe give you a hard time. They're going to try and come from every angle to move you away from the religion of Islam, right? So just try to stay steadfast by doing little things on a regular basis and by being around people that can help you in this journey, inshallah ta'ala. And these people who are going to maybe try and drag you away, try and keep a distance away from them. Yeah? You've got this masjid here, you've got the brothers, mashallah. They'll be more than happy to guide you in this journey, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala. Yeah?
This is the gift for you.
That's a gift.
Shahada box.
And there's more gifts to come as well. Yeah?
Get back to the Q&A. Tell us not over here. We're still going to questions.
If anyone's lost their phone, then go to security.
Put it back in there. We got some questions for the sisters, or you want to get a few questions for the men?
No, let's do one for the sister.
Go ahead, you can take a look. Let them know we're still going with the question and answer, inshallah.
طيب, we have a question here. Can sisters enter the masjid during their menses? The position of the four great Imams of fiqh, Al-Imam Abu Hanifa, Ahmed, Malik, and also Shafi'i, is that a woman cannot sit in the masjid while she's on the menses. And they have a number of evidences for that. The first hadith is hadith that you can find in Sunan Abi Dawud. When the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, إِنِّي لَا أُحِلُّ الْمَسْجِدَ لِحَائِضٍ وَلَا جُنُبٍ. I do not make the masjid lawful for a woman who's on her menses and a man who's in the state of janabah. That's the first hadith. We have another hadith, my brothers and my sisters. Aisha radiallahu ta'ala anha was one time with the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, and he said to her, Nawilini al-khumra. Get for me the prayer mat from the masjid. Her initial reaction was, Inni haid. I'm on my menses. The fact that she reacted like this, it shows that the norm amongst the women of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the companions was that a woman on her menses does not enter into the masjid. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said to her, Inna haydataki laysat fi yadik. Indeed, your menses is not inside of your hand. Just go and reach out and get the prayer mat for me. Right? So she can reach out, get the prayer mat. However, going inside it, she reacted in a way where, O Prophet of Allah, you asked me to go into the masjid, but I'm on my menses. This is what they understood. Also, you have the hadith of Atiyah radiallahu ta'ala anha. She said, أمرنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم أن نخرج العواتق وذات الخدور والحيض إلى العيدين. The young girl who hasn't reached the age of puberty, likewise the widow, right? And also the women on their menses were instructed to go and witness the Eidain. However, وَيَعْتَزِلْنَا أو وَيَعْتَزِلُ الْحُيَّضُ الْمُصَلَّى. As for the women on their menses, they would have to move away from where the praying area was. Right? So these are all evidences that have been relied upon by the four great Imams of fiqh, that a woman does not enter into the masjid, she doesn't stay there while she's on her menses. Sheikh. Wa alaikum salam. Okay.
I heard you say all the young people and them how not to go and do it the wrong way.
Okay.
But now let me ask you a question. In modern day, you got a lot of the young Muslims today, Muslim and the young, because I got sons.
Yeah.
They all got girlfriends, and the young Muslim sisters got boyfriends who are not Muslims. So I'm saying, could you tell them what would be the right way for them to do it? And then let's go to the last part. The LGBT, or the people of the rainbow color.
The alphabet, the people of the alphabet.
Let's call them devils. Let's call them what they are. What Muhammad Prophet says they are. Like devils. And you got your third grade child or fourth grade child in there, and they're taking your child and brainwashing your child. You tell your child homosexuality is all right. Why are we as Muslims speaking against it?
I'm not again. You mean not? Huh? طيب. Our respected uncle, he asked, what is the right way to go about seeking marriage. Right? In simple terms. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made marriage extremely easy. And I want the parents to really be with me for a moment as well. Sometimes we as parents may make it difficult. We expect them to have maybe 30,000 pounds for mahar. I don't know how much it is here in New York, but in Philly it's pretty expensive, right? Depending on which family you go to. To make things easy, especially in the time and age that we're in. We may think that the girl or the boy is coming home, right, and everything is perfectly fine, not knowing what they're up to in university, right? Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us, right, لا نكاح إلا بولي وشاهد عدل. There's no nikah except with the permission of the wali, and you have two witnesses. It's as simple as that. You have the permission of the wali, and you got two upright witnesses, the mahar that is agreed on, and then the marriage is done. It is as simple as that. Does that make sense, my brothers and my sisters? We need to understand that marriage is a very, very simple process. Not that I'm saying you can't have a party or you can't have a wedding. That's fine if you want to have so. But if you are now going towards a haram option, when you have a halal option, my brothers and my sisters, فَلَا تَلُومَنَّ إِلَّا نَفْسَكَ, don't blame anyone if you find yourself in a very, very dark, miserable place. I want to say this to my sisters. This man who's selling you a dream, right, who didn't go straight to your father, it's only a matter of time before he ends up breaking you. Someone who wants you properly, he is not going to creep through the window. He's going to go straight to your father. Let me tell you how men operate, guys, and to my sisters specifically. And please, brothers, don't get don't get upset. Right? The poet, he said, Al-Qahtani, إن الرجال الناظرين إلى النساء مثل الكلاب تطوف باللحمان. Those men that are looking at women are like dogs. When they see a piece of flesh, right, they start huffing and puffing around it. Men are like that. Some of these men that have bad intentions, they just want to chew you like a piece of chewing gum and spit you out. Because you came to him so easily, she's not wife material, right? What is playing on the back of his mind is that tomorrow she could go with another guy. So I'm going to go after a sister who's a lot more modest and bashful and shy. Not one that I was able to play around with like that. Wallahi al-azim. I've sat down with drug dealers. I have friends that are drug dealers. Not like that, guys. Before you misunderstand what I'm saying. But I speak and I engage with them. Right? I speak and I engage with them. They themselves will say, Wallahi man, I want a sister that's a lot more modest, that, you know, dresses appropriately, not a woman that's sleeping around. Yes, I'm doing it, but when I get married, I'm going to make sure I choose the Khadija. The wife material. Does that make sense? You know, on Instagram I receive a lot of messages, especially from sisters, who talk about being dumped and heartbroken. It doesn't surprise me. You know why? Look what Ibn Taymeya rahmatullahi alayhi mentioned over 700 years ago. وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّ كُلَّ مَنْ أَحَبَّ شَيْئًا لِغَيْرِ اللَّهِ فَلَا بُدَّ أَنْ يَضُرُّهُ مَحْبُوبُهُ. He says, no, that anyone who loves something for other than the sake of Allah, it's only a matter of time before he's hurt by it. He's not living amongst us, guys. Over 700 years ago he said that, and it's not surprising to see it, that he's left you hurt and heartbroken. Right? And then you're always going to be searching and pursuing that love, going from one guy to another. Fortunately, my brothers and my sisters, that's a sad reality. And the happiness that you're looking for, because it didn't happen in the right way, you're just going to find yourself searching and being left disappointed. Right? So do it the right way. Simple. The permission of the wali, right? And two witnesses. And make it halal for today. SubhanAllah, a lot of questions came from the sisters. Guys, bear with me. I listened to one of your lectures where you talked about saying oof to your parents. How do you respectfully disagree with them? Or how do you act when they do something that bothers you? Very good question. What we need to understand, my brothers and my sisters, before I answer the question, that us and our parents will never be equals. We will never be equals with our parents. Right? We will never ever be equals to our parents. So the moment you begin to speak to them as if they are your equals, then know that you have indeed erred greatly. Right? No matter how successful you become, no matter how many wives you marry, no matter how many children that you've given birth to, you are still that child to your parents. And we always talk to them as superiors. We always talk to them as if not as if, but we talk to them being our superiors. The same way you would talk to your boss. That's how we talk to them. Right? We don't kiss our teeth. We don't tell them you are this and you're wrong and whatever have you. No. Okay, mother. That's fine. It's not imposing, is it? They may enforce something upon you that is not binding. Just accept it. However, if they're telling you to do something haram, you are not allowed to abide by that. Does that make sense? You are not allowed to abide by that. Mother, I love you, but I can't do that. Right? Even if they are mushriks, they are kuffar. Allah tells us in the Quran, وَإِنْ جَاهَدَاكَ عَلَى أَن تُشْرِكَ بِمَا لَيْسَ لَكَ بِهِ عِلْمٌ فَلَا تُطِعْهُمَا وَصَاحِبْهُمَا فِي الدُّنْيَا مَعْرُوفًا. If they strive against you to do shirk, to do kufr, to do that which is displeasing, you're not allowed to obey them. But you still have to be kind to them in the dunya. We fulfill the request of our parents as long as it's not haram. As much as we can. And if you can't, then you are what? Excused. You are excused. Does that make sense, my brothers and my sisters? But I'm going to try, and if I can't, I'm going to try my utmost best. Does that make sense? That's how we should speak to them. If we can't speak in the DMs, for the elders who don't know what the DMs are, right? Private messages on Instagram. How can we speak? We don't see each other much. How do I introduce him to my dad? Good. If there is someone that you came across, right? There is someone that you have come across, maybe ask your sister to message her. Or a female relative to message her. Right? Take the number. Move it onto WhatsApp. And then you have what? Maybe a WhatsApp group where you have the mahram. Or a third person. Right? You can then maybe start FaceTiming one another while the environment is being monitored. Does that make sense? If you are able to meet one another, you can cut to the chase. You don't need all of that stuff. Just go to the house. As for this guy who says, Wallah, I want to get to know you, I don't know if I'm ready, big red flag. You are wasting your time, my friend. Right? I want to get to know you, let's go out to the Barclays Center and watch the Nets game, or the Lakers game, or whatever game is going on there. That's not going down, guys. How do I introduce him to my dad? Have a conversation with your father. If you don't have that relationship with him, maybe go through your mother, right? Or tell him to maybe give him a call, right? Just sometimes being straight, guys, saves us from a lot of headache. So let's stop going around the bush. I remember once upon a time, when I was looking to get married, I would just say to the sister, listen, give me your dad's number. Uncle, I'm interested in your daughter, can I come to the house? I just go straight to the house. And sometimes they appreciate the straightness a lot more. And I can look at her, can talk. That doesn't mean the father's going to be in your face all the time, listening to everything that you say. No, that doesn't have to happen. They could be walking around, like in the corridor, from time to time they walk in, that's fine. But then you kind of like, talking to one another. Just finding out what is needed to find out. No. Sheikh, how are you? Sheikh, you want to say anything? Allah Father, Sheikh.
I'll take a question from the men.
Oh yeah, from the men. Sorry guys, I forgot about you.
Let me help you. It's not.
So we spoke about marriage a lot, right? So for the youth who are trying to get married, they're trying to do it right, what would you recommend to them? For example, they're not financially stable yet, but they're striving, working hard, they're in school, they're doing some sort to become successful. They don't have the funds. Should they, speak to the father? Should they try to get married, or should they just wait until they're
So can you repeat your question again?
like should the youth be financially stable as they're approaching the father, or should they wait? Like, what should the case may be if somebody's not able to afford a marriage yet because they're a student or they're working to get to the position of their life yet?
So the brother asked, you might have a young person who wants to get married, wants to protect himself from haram, right? Should he wait up until he has funds, right, before he approaches the father, or should he still go ahead with the marriage? Is that what you're saying? Something along the lines of that. Wallahi, sisters have too many questions. It just keeps coming through. I can tell you what's in the scripture. That's one thing. Something else is how society looks at things, right? Today you approach the average dad, he's going to say, this guy's got nothing. I'm not giving him my daughter. Right? And that's just the reality you have to deal with. Right? So sometimes to have at least something to show for it, that you're trying, can maybe go a long way. Does that make sense? However, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also said in the Quran, وَأَنْكِحُوا الْأَيَامَ مِنْكُمْ وَالصَّالِحِينَ مِنْ عِبَادِكُمْ إِنْ يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء يُغْنِهِمُ اللَّهُ مِنْ فَضْلِهِ. Allah Azza wa Jal instructs the parent, marry them off. Yani the father has to be part of the process. You don't just throw him into the deep end. No, you're there supporting him, helping him. I'm not saying that the father is going to fund everything, but he's there making the process easier. إِن يَكُونُوا فُقَرَاء, if they are poor, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make things easy for them. Allah Azza wa Jal will enrich them. Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, ثلاث حق على الله عونهم. I've been told that the brothers downstairs are being destructive. Can you guys calm down, please? Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, 3 people Allah Azza wa Jal has made it right upon himself to help. You know, one of them is الناكح الذي يريد العفاف, the one who's looking to get married with the intention of wanting to protect his private parts. And the intention goes a long way, guys. Right? Umar ibn Khattab would say, عجبت لمن يلتمس الغنى, right? ثم لا يتزوج. It amazes me how one wants to become rich but then he doesn't get married. So there's the aspect of Allah Azza wa Jal supporting and aiding this individual when he now makes the intention to protect his private parts, and then he starts taking the means to get towards his objective, and so on and so forth. Right? So these are the 2 ways of looking at it that I advise the youth with. If you don't have the ability at a time and it's just not happening, I advise you to go and fast. And to make a lot of dua that Allah Azza wa Jal changes the heart of this father. I'll tell you, there are enough brothers who struggled with that parent. And they kept on making dua, and we know that the hearts are in between the fingers of Allah. إِنَّ الْقُلُوبَ بَيْنَ أُصْبِعَيْنِ مِنْ أَصَابِعِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. It can easily be flipped. Right? And things can change rapidly. Does that make sense? So make a lot of dua, right? And inshallah ta'ala, do fast at the same time as well. May Allah make it easy for you. You know. Before I forget, my brothers and my sisters, we talked a lot about knowledge. You have people around you who are able to teach you your fundamentals. You have people around you like that, brothers and sisters. Benefit from them. Benefit from these people. You have the likes of Sheikh Ibrahim, who teaches in places like, teaches in the Queens, right? Masjid Siddiq, the masjid that we're going to be going to tomorrow. Inshallah ta'ala, we want to go through how to soften the heart. The place that we live in today, where the heart is just becoming darker and darker. We want to go through, inshallah ta'ala, how to really soften it. You have our Sheikh here who's in the Bronx. May Allah Azza wa Jal honor him. You have our brother over there who I spotted in the crowd, one of the graduates of Al-Medina, right? And last but not least, you also have Sheikh Muhammad Munir. Do we have any HDs here? Hadith disciples? MashaAllah, tabarakallah. We got the HDs here, right? You have people like that, brothers and sisters, benefit from them. Does that make sense? Benefit from these people that you guys have, right? Go on.
Just on the topic of like seeking knowledge.
Are you from Britain?
Yes, I am.
MashaAllah.
Literally
Eh?
just moved to New York like 2 weeks ago.
You moved to New York.
SubhanAllah.
What made you move here? Huh? Oh, son.
I missed your lecture in the East London Mosque and then
Son.
came in.
Jazakallah khair.
Just on the topic of seeking knowledge, there's a lot of du'at around the area. Like, and there's a lot of masajid around the area. And there's a lot of like, confusion these days about like who you should take knowledge from, who you shouldn't. How do us people like trying to start to take knowledge? And how do we navigate that?
I think the people that we mentioned should be. Huh? Don't take us into politics, Sheikh. Huh?
Only pause isn't like you feel like further away from
Yeah.
them.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Masajid and so on.
Yeah.
We get a brother over here. This is one of my students.
Okay, one second. Wallah, inshallah, these brothers that you have around you, just stick with them and benefit from them, inshallah. It should perhaps suffice, inshallah. Yeah? Barakallah fiqh. What makes music haram and what makes it halal? Musical instruments. Musical instruments. Right? Musical instruments. Right? Does that make sense? Likewise, if something now has lyrics that are haram, that speak about, for example, drugs, that speak about gangs, that speak about shootings, all these guys, these rappers that we found, what do they speak about? They speak about money, killing, love, women, the content of it as well. You have an anashid that doesn't have musical instruments, right? And by the way, guys, you can listen to an anashid providing 3 conditions are met. First condition, it doesn't have any musical instruments. Second condition, that it doesn't involve any haram. And third, you don't actually believe that you're getting closer to Allah Azza wa Jalla through that. Does that make sense?
This name? This is a female, right?
Is it halal to get a second wife without the first wife knowing or consenting? Should we take the mic off, guys?
The family of this person is leaving. They just want to make an announcement.
Okay.
Whoever this is.
The family of Ahmadu Tonkara is leaving. So they wanted me to make this announcement. So is it halal to get a second wife without the first wife knowing or consenting? Anything that's wajib, my brothers and my sisters, anything that's mandatory, needs to be clearly mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah, right? No, he doesn't. Right? He doesn't. You may want to have a conversation with her before she gets a heart attack, but it's circumstantial. You gotta assess the situation. I'm a new revert. So did you guys get your answer? No, you don't. Huh? I went around the bush, but I'm a new revert and I have a question. For the right way to seek marriage, my family is not Muslim. Good. Because the wali is not Muslim, this is what I understood from the question. There can be someone else that becomes the wali, the guardian for the sister, like the imam of the masjid. Where's the imam? Is he here? Sheikh. No, I'm talking about the Sheikh Uthman. It takes the role of helping the sister, right? When being pursued, or maybe finding a potential spouse, right? So he takes that role of being a wali. As for maybe finding a brother, inshallah ta'ala, the sisters, your friends, may know someone, just asking around like that, maybe you have these marriage matrimonial apps that are Sharia compliant, not Muzmatch, right? Or what's the other one called? Islam, Muslim single, or single Muslims, right? Or marriage is halal, huh? And this other one called Tinder. A'udhu billah. Muzmatch and Tinder, there's no difference between them. There are some Sharia compliant marriage matrimonial apps. The ones that I know that are Sharia compliant is pure matrimonial. You guys have heard of it? Also Sunnah Match. Yeah. And by the way, I'm not getting paid to say this, guys. They are two that are Sharia compliant. One from, inshallah, 7-8 minutes we're going to close out, guys. One from the brothers.
This one right here, Muhammad.
Go on. The one who has the hat that says halal, huh? This is the brand of Sheikh Ibrahim. That's why I picked him out. Hey, favoritism, yalla, Jim.
Raise your voice, raise your voice.
Good. The brother said when you begin to seek knowledge and the people are praising you, how do you overcome that? Very good question. My brothers and my sisters, the principle that I always mention pertaining to this is, as long as you're fighting the nafs, inshallah ta'ala, you're on the right path, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. As long as you're fighting the nafs. What do I mean by that? Before you do the act, you're asking yourselves, am I being sincere? While you're doing the act, am I being sincere? Right? Am I doing it sincerely? Me doing the act. You know Sulaiman ibn Dawood al-Hashimi, who was from the great righteous scholars of the past. He said, رُبَّمَا أُحَدِّثُ بِحَدِيثٍ وَلِنِيَّةٍ. I might be narrating a hadith. Imagine now you have a hadith that is 10 lines. At the beginning of the hadith, I'm narrating it and my intention is good. But then I reach maybe line number 6. More people start walking in. And the shaitan is whispering, you gotta impress them. Huh? So he's constantly fighting with his nafs. The fact that you're fighting with the nafs is good. And then he says, وَرُبَّ حَدِيثٍ وَاحِدْ يَحْتَاجُ إِلَى نِيَّاتٍ. Perhaps maybe one hadith requires multiple intentions. Me just being honest, guys, sometimes the shaitan is whispering to me while I'm delivering a lecture and he says, just repeat that, say it in a better way so it can become a better Instagram reel. Wallahi al-azim. I'm just being honest with you guys. So it's a jihad, it's a struggle. So as long as you're fighting the nafs, inshallah ta'ala, that's the right way forward. And then after you finish with the action, you ask yourself, was I really sincere? Or who was I doing it for? So before, while, and also after. Does that make sense, guys? Yeah, but you never leave it off just because, oh, people are praising me, I can't handle it. That's from the shaitan. Because you're not leaving off for the sake of Allah, you're leaving off for the sake of the people. Does that make sense? Amin came all the way from Philly. May Allah bless you, man. Amin was one of the brothers who looked after me. May Allah bless him. Philly, aka Darul Hijrah. That's what people make hijrah to, right?
You have a young brother here.
Okay, I'm going to come to you after, okay? That brother with the blue jacket. Good. Brother asked, what are some of the sources of seeking knowledge? The ideal way would be to sit in front of a teacher and to take it directly from him. Does that make sense? You have teachers around you and they're teaching, try and take the knowledge directly from them. Start off with learning the rights of Allah Azza wa Jalla upon you. At-Tawheed. Going through books of At-Tawheed. You have books such as Usul al-Thalatha, the 3 questions of the grave. I went to Dar es-Salaam today, and again I didn't get paid to say this. Free promotion for the Maktabah. Right here, around the corner, somewhere around here, right? Yeah. Dar es-Salaam, they've got books on At-Tawheed there. Usul al-Thalatha, the 3 questions of the grave. Learning what al-ibadah is. You have books like Kitab al-Tawheed. Right? Kitab al-Tawheed. The book of al-Tawheed. Does that make sense? Starting off with the rights of Allah Azza wa Jalla upon you. Right? Does that make sense? And then also learning fiqh. There are certain acts of worship that we are directly involved in, right? On a day-to-day basis, like tahara, salah. Does that make sense? The ideal way would be to go through a fiqh book from cover to cover. But that might not necessarily always be feasible. So you learn at least وَيَحْرُمُ إِقْدَامٌ مِنَ الْمُكَلَّفِ عَلَى أُمُورٍ حُكْمَهَا لَمْ يَعْرِفِ. Things that are mandatory upon you. Like the tahara and the salah. The month of Ramadan is around the corner. We start learning about fasting. It's mandatory upon us. Before we engage in certain that we learn about it. Right? If you can study a madhab, that'll be great. It's just a systematic way of studying fiqh. Whether it's Hanbali or Hanafi or Shafi'i or Maliki. Does that make sense? Yeah? Start off with that inshaAllah ta'ala. And then let me know, email me. And we'll go on to the next step. Yeah? Can Haji Mamadou please come outside? His sister Hafsa is waiting for him. Go on, brother.
So my question is,
Are you Yemeni? MashaAllah. When في Yemen? والنعم. I've seen other Yemeni brothers as well.
this one too.
Huh? MashaAllah. Allah yahfadh.
From my community.
So my question is, how can you give da'wah to youth in a point where they can implement it in their life? And my other question is how to bring them to the side.
Come on, come to that. It's a dangerous question right here. Brother is asking, how can you encourage the youth to come to the masjid, right? And how can you advise the youth to start doing righteous deeds? You know, my brothers and my sisters, sometimes we only talk to people when they've done something wrong, right? Our young brothers and sisters, when they've done something wrong, only then we talk to them. The hearts are a lot softer. The hearts are a lot softer, my brothers and my sisters, when we advise them at a time when we are being kind towards them. Sometimes taking them out, showing them kindness, ice cream parlor. I don't know what you guys have over here. Huh? Sometimes gifts, right? They tend to listen a lot more. Sheikh's laughing, huh? You guys don't have ice cream parlors here, Sheikh? You don't know what an ice cream parlor is? What do you guys call it? Not an ice cream truck, guys. That's one thing. That's for, yeah. Huh? I don't know, like a cafe. You guys don't have cafe where they sell ice cream? What do you guys call it? An ice cream shop. Yeah, you guys get the gist. Sometimes just kind of like showing kindness. Baskin and Robbins. That's it. That's it. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Sorry guys, I'm like the traditions and the culture is a little bit different to the Brits. Yeah. Huh? Does that make sense, guys? Sometimes there's doing things, you know, that brings their hearts closer, and then using that as an opportunity to advise them. Does that make sense? Instead of, oh, he's done something wrong, I advise him. Only when he's done something wrong, I advise him. Does that make sense?
No.
As for bringing them to the masjid, this has to be what? A collective initiative. A collective initiative. Sometimes the masajid, they hold events, right? Which is youth attractive. Does that make sense? That attracts the youth. Wallah, in the UK, I came across a masjid where they have a section where there is just like games. Like, what do they call it? Snooker. They have table tennis. It's become a hub for the youth. Right? So maybe something to take into consideration. Does that make sense? How many more should we do?
Should maybe take one more and that's it.
No.
Take one more and that's it, inshallah.
Okay, there was a question here that stated, and I think we're going to conclude with it. And I think it's from a sister. Is that from a sister? Okay, it's from a brother. Sisters always tend to ask this as well. And correct me if I'm wrong because the phone closed, right? Question saying that how do you convince your father if he wants you to get married to a sister and you want to get married to someone else? Sahih? Wallahi, it's a bit of a difficult question to just answer like that. Maybe you can help me out here. He could be asking you to marry another sister because he feels that that sister is not the most appropriate for you, right? It could be that he wants you to get married to his niece from back home, right? Which is pretty common. It could be that the father is fearful that this brother only wants to play around with his sister or with this daughter of his because he's here at university. Parents don't always say no because they hate you guys. There's different aspects that they look at. I remember, subhanAllah, and this is no offense, but sometimes what happens is somebody comes from the Khalij, like the Gulf area, studying university, and he's looking for a sister that can help him pass time with, you know? He can just enjoy while he's here, and then he'll divorce her or he'll dump her just before he goes back to the Gulf area. Because the parents over there, they're not going to let you marry except from your own ethnicity, if that makes sense. Right? So there's a number of aspects to take into consideration, or that the parent may take into consideration. My advice would be to have a conversation and to keep talking to him and to keep making dua. I don't believe in rebelling against the parent. I don't believe in that. Right? I think there's more barakah in you having the blessings of your parent. But just take time. Remember, once upon a time, we as kids were extremely rebellious, right? They would ask us to do things and we wouldn't do it. And now there's maybe one time that they are going against what we really, really want. Does that make sense? So they need to, and we need to have patience towards them, if that makes sense. Got anything to follow up with? Huh? He said the niece from back home. Well, I just keep having a conversation with him, inshallah ta'ala. Keep trying to convince him. Yeah? Keep talking and make dua. Yeah? You don't need the permission of your father, by the way. Let me make that clear. Your wedding is not invalid. Your nikah is still valid. But I'm just saying, give them a chance. Remember, the hearts are in between the fingers of Allah. As the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, إن القلوب بين أصبعين من أصابع رب العالمين. It can easily change. Keep trying. Yeah? I will stop there, inshallah. Huh? اللهم صل على محمد. صلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, wallahi, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say that I love you all for the sake of Allah. Honestly, and I'll say this for the third time. You guys sacrificed the basketball game to come and sit in front of this miskeen. I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to reward every single one of you. Right? May Allah bless you all.